Meet Kranti. Right now, she is in the kitchen washing dishes and fetching water for her household's daily needs. Inside the house, her husband Srimant sits comfortably in a chair, signing official government documents and running the village's administrative affairs. If you ask the villagers, they'll tell you Kranti is the Sarpanch's wife. But here is the reality. Kranti is the legally elected Sarpanch. This is the gap between de jure and de facto authority. Having a legal title on paper does not automatically grant political agency in the real world. In India, the government instituted gender quotas to ensure female representation in local councils. But patriarchal systems found a loophole: the Sarpanch Pati, or husband of the Sarpanch. Men install their wives as figureheads to meet the quota, while the actual decision-making stays in rooms like this, completely devoid of women. State power legally flows to the elected female official, but it is immediately bypassed. Local men retain control over governance. But then a government mandate arrives, requiring the female Sarpanch to publicly lead a women's empowerment program. The men running the village are not threatened by the concept of female empowerment. They are terrified of a government audit. If officials realize their proxy leaders cannot speak for themselves in public, their grip on local power will be exposed. Granting a marginalized group a mandated seat at the table achieves nothing if the system actively prevents them from opening their mouths. To fix their optics problem, the male council comes up with a quick solution. They visit Savitribai, begging a retired teacher to prep their wives for the upcoming event. They don't want the women educated. They just want them to memorize a few lines, satisfy the quota, and save the men from public embarrassment. By attempting to protect their control, these men are engineering their own downfall. They are introducing a teacher into a closed, illiterate loop. When legacy power structures are forced to reform, they almost always attempt to proxy that reform through controlled optics, rather than surrendering actual capability. Inside Savitribai's home, there are no scripts handed out. Instead, she starts by asking a disruptive question. Who is the Sarpanch of our village? The women laugh. They instinctively point to Kranti and name her husband Srimant. They are completely disconnected from the fact that Kranti holds the legal title. Savitribai uses this moment to dismantle their conditioning. She ignores the government script entirely and teaches them the actual rules of the panchayat, outlining how the village's administration works and why financial self-reliance is necessary. The name Savitribai is highly deliberate here. It connects the character to Savitribai Phule, a 19th century pioneer who used education as a direct tool to dismantle caste and gender oppression in India. The theoretical lesson becomes practical. An older woman guides a younger one to physically sign her name, shifting her from passive listener to active participant. True empowerment cannot be handed down from above. It begins by forcing marginalized people to recognize the reality of their own exploitation. The day of the women's empowerment event arrives. Srimant watches from the sidelines, fully expecting Kranti to behave like a robotic puppet reciting her memorized lines. Instead, Kranti delivers a powerful monologue. She redefines empowerment, moving it away from a sterile government program and arguing that women must stand on their own 2 feet, financially and socially. Srimant listens to this and feels a patronizing mix of shock and pride. He falsely believes he still controls the woman delivering the message. Public speeches signal progress to a crowd, but those appearances don't change the underlying mechanics of the village office if the husband still holds the pen and the seal. The real test happens behind closed doors at the panchayat office. The event is over and Srimant enters the room, expecting to resume his de facto rule. He finds Kranti physically occupying the Sarpanch's chair, surrounded by her newly educated female council members. When Srimant tries to intervene, Kranti stops him. She dismisses the men from the room, stating that the Sarpanch does not need to ask anyone for permission. Kranti signs her own name on the official file and presses the Sarpanch stamp into the paper, closing the proxy loophole. This story reflects the transition from women as placeholders to women as legislators. When a female official understands the law herself, the system of proxy leadership begins to collapse. A government can legally mandate a title, but it can never mandate power. True authority is realized through education, and ultimately it must be unapologetically taken.